What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And of course, I'm from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at wisetake.com. If you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level, we are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check out Saturday passes available. If you're new to this channel, welcome. You've come to the right place with some free fire DFS content, so make sure you like, subscribe, make sure your notifications bell are turned on so you don't miss out any of the free content we put out. Currently covering MLB, covering slates Monday through Friday, meaning we stream Sunday night through Thursday night with our first look. All right, hopefully you guys had a good weekend. I certainly did. Very eventful, very fun, very hot in the Northeast, dealing with high temps. Shout out to Solid Picks in the YouTube chat. Shout out to my boy Pat Bush in the YouTube chat. What's going on, fellas? Good to see you guys hanging out on a late night Sunday night. Start a little bit late today. But it's a small slate, so we figured, it's going to be a real quick show. So interesting thing about this slate, it's really on DraftKings, the main slate is actually 2 games. They do have an all-day slate available, but the contests are just not comparable. So their main slate is the 2-game night slate. Kansas City at the Angels, Chicago at San Diego. FanDuel's main slate does start at 5:10. FanDuel's main slate is set up that way. So 3-game slate on FanDuel, 2-game slate on DraftKings main. Again, they do have an all-day slate. Want to be clear about that, but we're going to approach this just kind of covering all angles so that you guys can play however you want to play. And the article that I write at WiseTake, I will be writing an article at wisetake.com. I'm going to be a short one, but I will be writing it as if it's a 3-game slate. Probably highlighting for DraftKings specifically, at least if I like a specific, 2-gamer only. Time to grind. What's going on, man? Drop the knowledge indeed. Earth to Air, good to see you, bro. It says, what up, everyone? What's going on, bro? Okay. So obviously we don't do our traditional segments, top pitchers and all that shit. We're just going to kind of go through and just talk about the pitchers, talk about the offenses and the slate as a whole and see how we would want to attack this. So as you can see, Pablo Lopez would be the most expensive pitcher on DraftKings. He is on the 3-game slate. On FanDuel, he is second, I believe, behind Alzolay. That's something to keep in mind. We're going to start off with Pablo Lopez. Everything looks solid. 3.51 xFIP, 3.73 Sierra, 25% K rate, healthy ground ball rate. Problem is he's playing Boston. It's a problem because Boston has a 108 WRC plus against righties, a 329 WOBA, and one of the higher ISOs out there at 193. And they do have a 25.5% K rate. So we want to keep that in mind. It's definitely a plus. However, another drawback is that this game is in Boston. Had this game been in Miami, it would be in a much more friendly park, and Boston would be losing the DH, right? But it's the opposite. Boston still has their DH. That's an extra hitter that Pablo's got to pitch to, and again, they're in a small park. Adbert Alzolay, I've been really impressed. 3.35 xFIP, 3.34 Sierra, higher K rate at 27.2. BABIP is really low. So there could be some aggression coming at some point on that front. And he's playing the Padres, man. He's going to have his hands full with San Diego Padres, who only have a 99 WRC plus, 310 WOBA, and 149 ISO. They've been dealing with injuries. The problem is 21% K rate is not really high. Now, we do want to give Alzolay, all of a sudden, just can't say a damn name, some props. Right, he's got a 27.2% K rate, so evidently he's got some pretty nasty stuff. Games in San Diego, which is a fairly neutral park, somewhat I would shade it towards pitcher friendly. It's a pitcher friendly park, right? We don't see a ton of high scoring games, not a ton. You see them, but not a ton. So I think he's a fine option on DraftKings. I think he'll definitely be popular, especially because when you're the most expensive pitcher on a site, people just have a tendency to just gravitate towards you, trusting the algorithm completely. But Alzolay seems fine. Nick Pavetta is the one that keeps getting me. He keeps getting me. Very good ERA, 3.77, 4.24 xFIP, 4.14 Sierra. Tells us that he's not like, he shouldn't be doing this well, right? 27.4% K rate is pretty solid. Now Miami's offense, not very good. This is against righties. 88 WRC plus, 290 WOBA, 132 ISO, and a 26% K rate, which would lead us to believe this is a really good spot for Pavetta. And it's definitely possible that we see Pavetta with some increased ownership. Well, I mean, everybody's going to be owned, right? But we could see Pavetta on DraftKings kind of being trendy as the SP2, right? The AK SP2, regardless of the slate they're playing. On FanDuel, maybe he won't be as popular because he's playing Miami. That's going to lure people in. So I think in cash games, you probably are picking him with one of Alzolay or Pablo, depending on the site you're playing on, the slate you're playing on, etc. But I think Pavetta is in play for cash games. In tournaments, though, I'm always going to be interested in attacking him. And keep in mind, this is a fly ball pitcher in Boston. I know Miami has been playing well this season, but lately they've actually been hitting a little bit. Now that leads me to Dylan Bundy, who's got almost double the ERA at 6.49. But if you see, he's actually got a better xFIP and a better Sierra. Now he has a significantly lower strikeout rate, but he has a better xFIP, better Sierra. Probably gonna have a fraction of the ownership because he's been terrible, I would think. And he's playing Kansas City, who's they made us some money over the weekend, but they haven't exactly been the most explosive offense. Against righties, they have a 95 WRC plus, a 307 WOBA, 152 ISO, and a 22.5% K rate, which isn't that high, 22.5. But the numbers tell us that Bundy's been a little unlucky. He hasn't been good per se, but maybe he's been a little unlucky. And on a 2-game slate or 3-game slate, you're trying to get a little bit different. I think he's at least in consideration at the price you are saving, right? And then you got Ryan Weathers, who doesn't appear to be that good. I think the Cubs are a pretty interesting offense here. 2.06 ERA, which is the best on the slate. However, xFIP is the highest on the slate, 4.47. Sierra, highest on the slate, 4.51. Only a 19% K rate, the lowest on the slate. A 210 batting average, balls in play that will correct itself at some point. And he's got a 38.8% contact rate, which is the highest by far. He's clearly the worst pitcher of the bunch. Going off these numbers, small samples, I'm not trying to make it personal with the dude, but of the numbers that we see, the metrics that we look at, he appears to be the one that's gotten by the most on luck and has the most regression coming. Leonard, what's going on, bro? My boy Leonard Pumphrey says, nice weekend for me. 10 tourneys went all about 225%, man. I'm digging it, Leonard. Do the dirty, man. That's called doing thy dirty to thy neighbor. That's an old school one right there that we say around here. Nice job, bro. So getting into the offenses, obviously, I think the Cubs will be popular. They should be. The Cubbies 25.9% K rate, but a 199 ISO, 338 WOBA, and a 114 WRC plus against lefties. Which, yes, Ryan Weathers is a lefty. So the Cubs offense is definitely popping out. And I'm wondering where the ownership will be. But I'm thinking them, and I'm thinking people may attack Dylan Bundy, right? So I'm thinking Kansas City can end up being popular, making Dylan Bundy an interesting leverage play, right? That people love that word. So that's the slate. Again, you don't have Pablo or Pavetta on the main slate on DraftKings unless you are doing the all-day slate, which the contests suck. So take those two out of the equation, and things can get a little interesting, right? And we're missing a pitcher here, right? So there's somebody that we don't know who's pitching, right? Yeah. See if I can find out real quick. Let's see if we can find out real quick who's pitching. Who are we missing? Oh, it's the Royals. Jackson Koar could be the one. I'm assuming that's a bullpen game that we get. Yeah, okay. So he's going to start. Jackson Koar making his debut. Let's see what we can find out. About this Jackson. Okay, let's take a look at this kid. All right, so looking at his numbers, he was in AAA. He had 6 starts from AAA. Had a massive K rate. Was really solid actually. A .085 ERA, a 3.7 xFIP. Really solid. Only 6 games. In 2019, he was in AA. Similar numbers, but the Ks weren't as high. This is a decent pitcher. So someone to keep in mind, he's 6K on DraftKings and FanDuel. I would imagine he has somewhat of a tight leash. Keep an eye out for that. Interesting, needless to say. So throw him into the GPP mix against the Angels. Let's take a look at where the Angels are here. Angels, another one, man. They've been banged up a little bit. Ohtani's been doing dirties, but so this is interesting. A 170 ISO, 313 WOBA, 102 WRC plus, but a 24% K rate. So this Koar kid could be in play. Could be on a small slate. Take some chances. So let's recap a little bit. I think the Cubs are looking like an optimal offense. I think that the Miami stack could be a little leveragey if Pavetta ends up popular, which I think he could be. Right, people like to pick on Miami. And I think Dylan Bundy is an interesting pivot off of Pavetta for the people that are using the opposing, right? Like not similar price, but the numbers are comparable, and maybe the value is not. 8K on DraftKings, 7-1 for Bundy. 9-3 on FanDuel, 7-3. So just something to consider. Anyway, Nation, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna get out of here. Okay, Leonard's got some dimes. He's got some dimes here in the chat, some assists. Says he is a hit AAA pitcher. He's a number 4 prospect. Okay, I mean, looking by the numbers, I would think he was one of the top prospects. But number 4 prospect, someone to consider, especially on DraftKings where you have to roster 2 pitchers. Anyway, Nation, I appreciate you guys. We're going to get up out of here. I'm sure we'll have a larger slate for you tomorrow night. So, do the dirty. Hit the like button on your way out. Leave some comments. Love hearing from you guys. Love hearing the feedback. Love interacting with y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.